I don't know if you guys know this about me, even though it is literally like in my channel bio. I love horror movies. I truly, genuinely love horror movies. I love watching them. It's by far my favorite flavor of movie. And if I'm being real, I think that the best dates are probably watching horror movies or going to a haunted house. As far as I'm concerned, all other dates are just supplementary until you can do those again. And not only do I love horror movies, I love Halloween. To no one's surprise. For me, Halloween's really less of a holiday, more of a lifestyle that begins October 1st and it ends September 30th. I go hard on Halloween. I love the month of October. It's like perfect weather. It's cooling down a lot. It's a little rainy. It's very Twilight-esque. Big fan. And in the weeks before and after Halloween, I go extra hard. I mean, I'm always Halloween mode every day of the year, but I go extra hard. And one thing I decided to do recently for like my little post Halloween party was a rewatch of every Halloween movie. Now, I'm sure it's very surprising, but as a guy who loves horror movies and loves Halloween, I actually like the horror movie series just called Halloween. Love Michael Myers, huge fan of his work. He's been an inspiration to me in my personal life. So I've seen a lot of these movies like 12 times at least. And just quick side note, there are 13 Halloween movies. For some reason in my head, I thought there was like 7 or 8 tops. And this was going to be like an easy 2-day marathon because I very rarely do like huge marathons of movies like this. So I was like, oh, there's just a few Halloween movies. No, 13 of them. Not an easy 2-day marathon. Not at all. And if you're curious, out of all the 13 of them, which one I've watched the most, it is without a doubt the Rob Zombie Halloween from 2007. I've seen that movie an autistic amount of times. I was like a kid when it came out. I remember watching it in secret for the first time at my friend's house because my mom wouldn't let me rent it. She was like, no, that's not for kids. She was right, but I watched it anyways, and I would say I've probably watched it 30 times since then. And I'm not saying the Rob Zombie movies are the best Halloweens. They just have the perfect blend of like nostalgia for me because they came out when I was young. I was a little baby, and I've basically just been watching them periodically throughout my life. Now, finally, the topic of this video, the newest Halloween trilogy. I watched each of these movies once when they came out, and very little stuck in my head, in my brain, other than the funny moments of really bad dialogue that were in them. Like, there are some shockingly bad dialogue moments in the new Halloween trilogy, and I sometimes say, still, now he's turning us into monsters. For no reason, because, quite frankly, that shit lives in my head rent-free. So, other than bad dialogue, I remembered very little from the new Halloween trilogy. Real quick, just as a favor to you, the viewer, I think it'd be fun to break down the timeline of Halloween as a series in case you're not familiar. So in 1978, the original Halloween was released. Halloween 2, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, and Halloween The Curse of Michael Myers, aka Halloween 6, all follow a linear timeline. So it goes 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and then there's Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. It exists in its own timeline, and it is also the only movie in the franchise that does not feature Michael Myers. It's not about him at all. Then there's Halloween H2O and Halloween Resurrection that are a branching timeline taking place after the events of Halloween 2. Separate to all of that is the Rob Zombie rebooted Halloween that came out in 2007 and features a reboot of the original Halloween and a sequel to it just called Halloween 2. Now, the most recent trilogy is also a soft reboot, but still taking place in the original timeline. 40 years after Halloween 1978 is Halloween 2018, and that is followed by Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. I'm going to do that whole explanation with no visual aid, and I want you to be honest. Did you follow it? Because I'm curious. If you didn't, here's like a helpful graphic of the clusterfuck timeline that is Halloween at this point. Today, though, I'm talking about one scene from Halloween Kills, a singular scene, which is the sequel to a soft reboot from the original timeline and also completely separate from the original reboot. This series is kind of a mess. Anyways, why am I talking about one specific scene from a movie instead of, like the movie as a whole? Or maybe I can make videos about the trilogy. Maybe I'll do that someday, but I am not joking. I have not been able to stop thinking about this scene since I watched Halloween Kills over a week ago at this point. It is the single weirdest scene I have ever ingested from media of any kind. Like, I don't want to hype this up too much, but it's definitely a head scratcher. It has left me puzzled. I've been sending my friends this scene and been like, what the actual fuck was that? I'm sure they're all tired of me talking about it by now, but like it is in my brain like worms. Let me just set the scene for you, right? Let's just have, put up a clip of like a calming campfire and let me set the scene. Laurie's cabin is on fire with Michael inside. Actually, maybe a campfire's in bad taste. We'll figure something out. Don't worry about who Laurie is either. She's not important right now. Firefighters, they arrive at the cabin, they're on scene, and they begin working. A couple of them enter the cabin while others start spraying water, with the hoses on the exterior. It's worth noting that the firefighters do not know that anybody is in the building at this point. They went in to see if people were in there. Then there's one unlucky fella who falls through the floor because, the building is on fire, and he radios about a structural collapse. Then, oh my god, no way, he sees Michael and he goes, oh hey, there's someone else down here. Bam. Michael kills his bitch ass. He kills the other firefighter inside the cabin too. It's all well and good so far. He was hiding out. They didn't know anyone was inside, so this all checks out. It's all above board. Then Michael exits the cabin, walks out the front door, and this happens. Are these firefighters preparing for battle? That can't be what they're doing, right? There's no way that they're preparing for battle. What the fuck was that? I mean, yeah, it was a cool scene showing Michael like slaughtering a bunch of people. Hell yeah, but what? I have so many questions. Are they the firefighters? Are they allowed to do this? Are they allowed to just murder a man? Like, do firefighters have jurisdiction just like over people nearby fires? Maybe if they suspect that you're on the fire's side, like maybe you're working with the fire. I guess that would be like arson. But even if firefighters have reason to suspect that you've started the fire, are they allowed to just kill you with axes? Should I be scared of firefighters? There's no way that that's something firefighters can do, right? Kill you with axes, spray you with a hose, or chop you up with a big saw, which is all they were prepared to do. And also, why did all of them instantly prepare for battle? Like, there was not a moment's hesitation on any of these guys. They immediately grip their axes. The one guy like yanks the start cord on the saw and he's like, it's time to fucking rumble. And the guy with the hose starts spraying Michael. What the fuck? They did not. They were like, yeah, it's ready to rock and roll. And I understand that Michael Myers is kind of a local legend. No, I mean not. Well, yeah, he is kind of a local legend. That's like he's like a myth. He's like the boogeyman, except for he's real. He's not a myth. So I understand that like probably people would know, except for Michael Myers was active like 40 years ago and just came back, and a lot of these firefighters look significantly younger than people who would remember stuff from 40 years ago. And I know that they always talk about Michael Myers, like I think they like commemorate by every year, they like get together and talk about it, but like there's not one of these young guys was like, "Hey, who's that?" Or like, are we 100% positive they're just like, that guy looks like Michael Myers, we're going to chop him to death with axes? Speaking of chopping him to death with axes, do firefighters, how do I put this? Do firefighters train in firefighting tool combat? Like, do they, because I know they do test scenarios where they'll like build a little house and burn it down, and like have ladder training and stuff. Is there also, maybe on like Wednesdays they bring in some sort of strange grizzled, he looks like he's from the Fire Force anime, and he's like, this is how you kill a man with your axe? How did they all know how to do this? And also, my final question, why did none of them just leave? Or even try to leave? Or call for help? Not like, Michael Myers comes out, right? And I don't believe there's like a picture of Michael Myers. There's just a description of like, he's just a guy with a mask, and the mask just kind of looks like a guy. So, okay, I get it. You're 100% positive that this is Michael Myers, the boogeyman from 40 years ago, that any sane person would be like, well, Michael Myers would be like 73 by now. I'm not scared of him. So you're 100% positive this is Michael Myers, evil incarnate. Why would literally all of these firefighters be like, okay, it's up to us. None of us can radio for help. None of us can be like, hey, yo, send out the National Guard. None of us can like get in the trucks and just leave. Maybe all of us could do that because Michael just stood there menacingly. No, they're like, it's up to us, the local firefighters, to fuck this man up. This scene is crazy to me. I cannot stress enough how, like, it's a cool scene. Do not get me wrong. I love the scene, but it's also so confusing because visually, oh my God, the visual of Michael like standing on the front entryway area with the fire burning behind him. Oh my God, that's like the coolest Michael Myers has ever looked. Fuck yeah, dude. But also, what? I don't know. Maybe I just don't know. And hopefully I did a good job of explaining this scene and why it has stuck in my brain for the past week. I truly have not stopped thinking about it since I watched the movie. And I don't know if I ever will. I think this one will stay with me for life. It's like a bad breakup. This one will scar me forever. I can't believe that an entire department of firefighters, I can't believe in the first place that like 60 firefighters, okay, not 60, but it was probably like 20 firefighters were called out for just like a remote cabin in the woods that was burning a little bit, but also that all of them in unison were like, we need to fucking kill this guy with axes. I don't even know. How do you end this video? Thanks for watching. Let me know how you feel about Halloween.